The NBA actually got good basketball during the All-Star game, but they completely botched the broadcast. The worst All-Star broadcast I've ever seen. And maybe Jayson Tatum got screwed out of an All-Star MVP. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Being down, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis, recap the madness. Every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Primetime dapping D White on the sideline. Raining Jace, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. It's right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I got you covered every Monday through Friday, plus a bonus podcast whenever they play on the weekends. So make sure you're subscribed. Then this podcast will drop directly to your favorite podcasting app. We're on all of them. We're also on YouTube. You can watch the show. You can see all of the wild expressions that I'm making and my disgust in this show. Hop in the comments section, share your thoughts about All-Star Sunday, an All-Star weekend. We'll do all of that. It's a lot of ranting going to be going on here. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Look, there's no way I can sugarcoat this. In fact, instead of bullet points on my YouTube graphic, if you're not watching and you're just listening, very simple. Worst NBA All-Star broadcast ever. Worst episode ever. They kind of got the basketball part right. I think the tournament style was actually not bad. And look, I was very interested in that style because if you remember back months ago when I did a Q&A and I was asked about how would you try to fix the All-Star game, and I thought my suggestion was make it 15-man rosters and then split it into a bunch of teams and have them play like a longer tournament and have it be quick. I might do it a little differently than what they did this time around, but I think the format actually kind of worked. It got the competitive juices flowing. No one wanted to be eliminated right away. I do think that there would be room for like I totally drew a blank on the like a consolation game. That's what it was, a consolation game or something. So I do think the point, Draymond Green, who I'll get to in a second, but he did make a good point. Like, you've earned this All-Star, and your team loses in that first game, and that's it. You've gotten 6 minutes in an All-Star game, and it's kind of forgotten. I know the entire experience is fun and all of that, but I would like to see an opportunity for the team that loses that first game and maybe the team that loses the second game to play each other in like a consolation game and have a first, second, third prize or something. Maybe like a first, second, third prize donation to a charity or something like that. But whatever it is, however they do it, if there are tweaks that can be made. I don't think it's perfect, but the on-court product, the basketball that we saw, was, partly still All-Star game-ish, but we saw stretches of actual competitive basketball. I thought Victor Wembanyama was there to play. He wanted to play, and he played hard. I thought he was really good. I think in stretch with the Rising Stars, they played hard, and I expected the Rising Stars to come in and put an effort out there because they want to make a name for themselves. I thought the overall competitive part is there with this format. That said, by the end, it turned into a circus because the entire broadcast was a circus. And so by the end, like, they kept stopping the game all over the place. It was just stoppage. It's like TNT wanted to put on a concert and a tribute to themselves and all of that. And the basketball part was a complete afterthought to the producers of the show. And that's where I have my biggest problem. I think one of the consensus that I've seen online is this is not the players' fault. Like, whatever backlash there is here, this is not the players. Now, the players kind of dogging it is why we've gotten to this format. That's for sure. But on this Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025, I'm not blaming the players for what we saw. I'm blaming TNT, the producers of that show, and the people involved with that TNT broadcast. Honestly, the single worst. I don't understand how people could conceptualize this broadcast and be fine with how it would have played out. Now, in my past profession, before I switched over to covering the Celtics full time, I was a TV producer. I produced shows. Now, I never produced a live event to this scale, but I have produced some pretty extensive shows. I've been in a control room for multiple hours, whether it's live coverage. I've produced political coverage. I've produced a lot of different, like, multi-element, multi-live shot shows. I am aware of how a lot of this works. And I know that if you're producing, you're supposed to have a grasp of the time, and you're supposed to be able to play out the cadence of how this is going to go. You know, as you're planning this out in your production meetings, we've got this for this much, 5 minutes here, 6 minutes there. At no point did anybody say, hey, you know what? We're going to put on a 15-minute TNT tribute in the middle of the championship game. It was 11-1 in this championship game. The guys had played 6-7 minutes of basketball at most, and they stopped the game. They played this tribute. They gave Kenny and Shaq and Chuck, and they just gave all the guys and Ernie the gone fishing paraphernalia, like in the middle of the game, to the point where Jaylen Brown, they brought the camera out they turned the camera on Jaylen Brown. He's like, get him out of here. Like, can we play this game? I thought people were there to watch the NBA's best players play basketball. At no point did any of these producers go, this isn't feeling like a basketball broadcast. This is a concert and a TNT tribute with breaks for some basketball. That's what this was. And it was horrible. Kevin Hart, every time Kevin Hart came on, and I like Kevin Hart. I have gone to Kevin Hart shows. I will spend money. Next time I have an opportunity to go see Kevin Hart put on a show, I will spend my own money to go see Kevin Hart perform comedy. He's funny. He ruined everything about this broadcast. Every time he was on, he was supposed to be this like MC live. There was a moment with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in like the first game where Kevin Hart comes on. He comes on, and he's like berating bigs for shooting threes. He comes on and like is yelling at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Shai's like, can we play? Can we go now? So multiple instances of players saying, what are we doing here? That is a terrible product. I got more. This is, if you like rants, this is like a 30-minute rant interrupted by commercials. And you know what? Let's take our first break. I'll come back with more on Kevin Hart and Draymond Green And the NBA, I cannot believe they keep allowing people to denigrate their product. Today's show is brought to you by Hungry Roots. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, we all have this problem. It's an ongoing problem. No time between work, life, trying to eat healthier, which is a struggle, especially as it gets cold and you just huddle up and when you want these big, heavy foods. It's a constant feeling like being stressed out. Going to the grocery store is a chore. You buy things you don't need. You end up with no time to actually cook. And sticking to the health goals is a struggle. But everything can change with Hungry Root. It can be a game changer and an easy way to eat healthy with no stress. With Hungry Root, it's just like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one because they take care of the grocery shopping, recommending meals and groceries based on my tastes, my health goals, from anti-inflammatory, which is a big, thing for me, high protein, gluten-free options. The best part, each meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. So it's quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to your door. It's a huge time saver, and it makes healthy eating so much simpler. You're going to love Hungry Root. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA. Don't miss out. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make sure you're going to LockedOnDaily.com. You can check out our new Locked On Celtics newsletter, LockedOnDaily.com. Click on that Locked On Celtics logo. You get Monday through Friday Celtics, NBA, and fantasy coverage, plus links to all the great Celtics content around the internet. So go sign up, LockedOnDaily.com. If you miss a show, it's a great way to keep up with stuff, but open up that email when you get it, read it. It's a quick scan through, get caught up on everything. It's a great way to keep up with the whole league. So I feel like I'm doing the thing that I'm complaining about because I'm not getting to the actual basketball part till the third segment, but the broadcast was just so horrible with Kevin Hart. So Kevin Hart's up there. The first thing he does, he starts talking about is, I don't want to see any bigs out there shooting threes. Get your big butt on in the block. And wait a second. So if you're Adam Silver and you're sitting there listening to, okay, we've got Kevin Hart, who knows how much money he's been getting from the NBA. You get Kevin Hart out there screaming about the one thing, this one complaint that keeps finding its way into NBA broadcasts, where people completely complain about the bigs shooting three-pointers, which for some reason, like someone tweeted at me, when you're short and you shoot threes, it's fine. But for some reason, when you're tall and you can shoot threes, that's a problem. 3 of the top 6 shooters, three-point shooters in the NBA are bigs. Sabonis, Jokic, and Karl Anthony Towns. 3 of the top 6. So that percentage-wise, bigs can shoot. So that's where it's the modern NBA. So this guy that you hire to be the MC is immediately trashing the product. And then Draymond Green goes on this rampage about the Rising Stars team being involved, which even if you want to say that he has a point, the point is not that the NBA is like robbing guys of all-star opportunities. The point here is that all of the all-stars for years now have been mailing in the effort. Like, the all-star game is not a competitive thing. And we get it. It's not supposed to be like a playoff game. We get it. But it's also not supposed to be a circus. And so guys just completely, like, everybody just gets out of the way and everybody gets a chance to dunk, and everybody was shooting from half court, even though Steph started doing this towards the end. But the product over the past few years has been so bad, and it's Draymond Green and his contemporaries in that All-Star game. They've made the product so bad that the league had to try to find something else. The league just didn't decide this and say, you know what would be fun? Let's try the young rising stars. That's not. They're there because the league needed 4 teams, and the league needed at least one of these games to be competitive. And they knew by putting the rising stars in there, those young guys are going to push whatever team they're up against, because those guys are going to want to have, like, this is their moment, right? They're part of All-Star Weekend, so they get to play on Sunday. Hey, this is great. Let's go out there and push this. So you don't want to be the NBA team that gets rolled by a bunch of rookies and sophomores or whatever, year they're in. So you have to put in effort as an NBA player, as an NBA All-Star. So that worked. That's fine. Draymond complaining about that over and over and over. He just would not let it go. The NBA has to stop letting these former players come in there and just trash the product over and over and over and over again. The product, the basketball, was actually decent in this. For all-star purposes, it was decent. Draymond could have said, hey, at least, Stephon Castle played hard. At least, Dalton Connect, look, he's whatever. You can say something about him going back to the Lakers, and I like what I see from him, or anything like that. No, it just had to be constant trash. And they gave him multiple opportunities to say something nice, and he just, it was like the most offended, like he was personally offended by it. It sucks to constantly watch basketball, and me as a fan of the game have to scream at my TV all the time. No, this is actually good. And I'm trying to be positive about the game online. I'm trying to be one of the people that's championing the game, because the game is beautiful. The game is great. Does it have some issues? Yeah, there are always going to be some issues. There's always going to be something that people hate. I remember, I mentioned this on a podcast before, but 15 years ago, the problem was that people dunk too much. Now the problem is that people take too many threes. But back then, everybody was so worked up about how they dunk too much. They want to raise the rims. People were writing about raising the rims because players were just dunking too much. It was too easy. So somebody's always going to be ready to complain about something. But I want to champion the game, which is why I'm so upset about this broadcast, because they did not champion the game. You got some of the best players in the world together on the same team, and they're out there at least playing a little bit of defense. They're doing something. We all get it that the All-Star game is going to be half speed, 3/4 speed. But as long as it's not buffoonery, then okay, we're good. We want to see some plays. We want to see some matchups. We want to see, some fun stuff. We saw some really good. There were stretches of really, really good, fun basketball where guys were actually trying. It wasn't a ton. Most of it was, just all-star level kind of exhibition effort. But this would have been a great night to celebrate. Hey, this tournament thing is actually, I think it's actually working. I think it actually did its job. And no, TNT had to completely just at every turn, every chance they got, I literally muted my TV whenever I saw Kevin Hart, and I go online and I'm on Blue Sky, and people are like, mute. I've searched mute on Blue Sky, and you just see like people talking about muting their TVs. The NBA had an opportunity and blew it. And as for like on the court stuff, I thought Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown played well. Let's get into them. Let's get some actual basketball. I'm going to do the thing that I asked TNT to do. Let's actually talk some basketball when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. NBA action. We're getting back into it at the end of the week. There's no better place to get in on NBA action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip or you want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. If you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your bets. You can call it the same game parlay and have fun with multiple bets all in the same game. The live betting feature keeps every moment of the game exciting, whether you're looking for that late rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three. App's super easy to use. When you win, you get paid instantly. They also have tools that help you protect yourself. So if you are, just setting your limit, set your budget, and that way you can protect yourself. And if you know what your budget is, so set that. Use the tools that they have. Gamble responsibly. And right now, FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I'm sure the folks over at Locked On NBA Game Night are going to have a similar rant. This is going to be a day of NBA podcasts of people just losing their minds over this broadcast. So Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA Game Night, get a little bit of a different perspective. I do the Friday show. I do the Friday show with Jake Madison. So subscribe wherever you found this podcast. So Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, I thought played pretty well. Tatum was the leading scorer of the All-Star festivities, 21 points. He shot 9 of 11, 3 of 5 from 3, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a block. Tatum was he had his moments. He was pretty good. Jaylen Brown was pretty good in that championship game. Jaylen played 7.5 minutes, 4 points, couple of rebounds, 2 of 4 from the field. In that first game, Jaylen was had a little bit more involvement, 8 points, a steal. He shot 4 of 5 in that first game against the Rising Stars. So Jaylen, played well. Had a couple of dunks, was good. Tatum played well, but nope. Steph Curry gets the MVP because he hit a half-court shot and he hit a bunch of threes, and Bay Area, Golden State. So all he had to do was be somewhere close, and he was going to get it. Like I said, the half-court shot, it was crazy. The 8-second violation was hilarious. He's like setting up for like this game winner and forgot that the rules still exist in basketball. And so Tatum probably should have been the MVP. I mean, look, even in the championship game, 15 points, 6 of 7 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Steph had 12 points. 4 of 8 shooting, 4 all from 3, 4 rebounds and an assist. So he had a couple of steals. So Tatum actually had like the better game. But oh well, I'm not going to get too worked up about it. All in all, 10. Well, what did he play? 20 minutes in this game. 21 minutes in combined in these two games. Jaylen played 7.5. So 14 minutes for him. So overall, pretty good for the Celtics. I haven't seen any of the post game quotes. I'm going to see if I can take a quick peek because I know that the players are probably as confused by everything that happened. But yeah. So Jayson Tatum received a vote from PJ Carlissimo, and that's it. Is that all that voted for him? Wow. So all of the people, Steph Curry was basically a unanimous MVP. Okay. So overall, I thought if you strip away all of the TNT stuff, if you just focus on the basketball, it was good. In fact, All-Star Weekend wasn't bad. Like, people love to complain, and I know I'm saying this after complaining for an entire podcast, but look, I get upset. I get upset when I feel like the game has been disrespected, and I think the game was disrespected in this broadcast. I don't know. I feel like the focus, the league came in and wanted the focus to be on basketball and wanted to have good basketball, and they finally got it and they didn't focus on it at all. So of course I'm going to get upset about that. If the broadcast was good and the basketball was bad, I'd be like, these guys just don't care. And I understand all of the stuff why, like, I get why they're in this situation. So, but if you go back to, like, I don't really pay much attention to the Friday night stuff. The Saturday night stuff, the skills competition, I don't mind the skills competition. I'm glad that that the Spurs team got disqualified for, like, fake shooting their shots. But I thought that was, you know, I don't mind the skills competition. If the 3-point shootout is always fun. Mac McClung winning the slam dunk was fun. There were some boring parts to the slam dunk, you know, guys missing a bunch of shots, but I thought McClung was really good. Jumping over, like, legit jumping over a car for the dunk was great. Oh, here's a quote from Jaylen Brown about, yeah, it took the gas out of everything for a little bit. They did not know there would be a break in the middle of the All-Star game. Yeah, of course they didn't. You know? So, you know, it bugs me. It bugs me that they put the players in these positions, and it bugs me that they get the players to warm up and then sit there and get cold and then, like, try to warm up again. You know, I don't want to go down, like, the road of guys could get hurt, but that is how guys get hurt. You know, you get loose, then you sit, and you get loose and you sit. Anyway, I thought the whole weekend, the weekend itself was good. I don't think NBA All-Star is, like, a bad product. It needs some tweaks, but God, I'm hoping beyond hope that NBC, or I think it's NBC that does the All-Star game next year, that they get this right, because TNT botched it, like, in a bad way. All right, I'm done. I'm done ranting. This is people are probably going to tune out on this podcast, but I needed to rant. I'll be back tomorrow. Hey, tomorrow, I got Drew Carter, Celtics play-by-play guy. Drew Carter will be on the show tomorrow, so make sure you're tuned into that. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, whatever your favorite podcasting app is, we're there, so make sure you're subscribed there. Get to the show on YouTube, get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking there. Share your thoughts. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, please. I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with me. But then I would love it if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.